Audiobook summary of Focus on You Until You Win by Britt and Cole. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise of the world becomes too loud to think. Voices from every direction, what you should be, what you should have, what you should look like, how far you should have gone by now. And in that noise, many of us forget who we really are. This book begins there. It begins with silence, the kind of silence that lets you finally hear yourself again. Focus on you until you win is not a slogan. It's a declaration of responsibility. It says, stop looking outward for answers. Turn inward instead. Because the world you live in will always mirror the world you carry inside. If you are restless within, everything outside will seem unstable. If you are grounded within, the storms of life lose their power over you. The journey begins with awareness, the gentle but honest act of asking, where am I really? What have I been running from? What have I been chasing that doesn't belong to me? The author doesn't tell you to dream bigger or work harder right away. He tells you to pause, to stand still long enough to meet the person you've become. So many people keep moving, thinking motion means progress. But motion without direction is just noise. You can run for years and still end up in the same place, tired, confused, and empty. Focus is not about speed. It's about clarity. To focus on yourself means to remember who you are beneath all the noise, beneath the expectations, the pressure, the competition. It's to look in the mirror and not see failure or delay, but potential waiting for discipline. Discipline, the author says, is love in action. Most people think discipline is punishment, a set of rules that steal your freedom. But that's not true. Discipline is what gives you freedom. It's the structure that allows you to rise beyond your emotions. When you tell yourself, I'll do this even when I don't feel like it, you're not being harsh. You're being loyal to your future self. Every small act of consistency builds trust within you, and trust is what creates confidence. Confidence is not the loud voice in the room. It's the quiet knowing that you will follow through on what you say. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-esteem grows stronger. You begin to depend less on motivation and more on integrity. That's what it means to focus on you, to make your own growth your greatest commitment. In a world that teaches us to look everywhere but within, focusing on yourself feels unnatural at first. You might feel guilty for saying no. You might feel lonely when you step away from distractions. You might even feel lost when you no longer measure your worth by what others think. But those feelings are not signs that you're doing something wrong. They are signs that you are healing. Healing is quiet work. It's the slow rebuilding of trust between who you were and who you're becoming. The book reminds us that healing doesn't look like progress, but it is. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause, but it's the foundation of everything. You cannot build a peaceful life from a wounded mind. So before you chase another goal, pause and ask yourself, what part of me still needs peace? When you heal, you stop repeating old patterns. You stop fighting battles that no longer belong to you. You begin to create from strength instead of from pain. Another core idea in this journey is energy. The author treats energy like currency. Every day you wake up with a limited amount, and how you spend it determines what kind of life you build. If you waste it on gossip, comparison, resentment, or drama, you end up broke by noon. But if you invest it in learning, rest, kindness, and discipline, your energy multiplies. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's strategic. It's understanding that not everyone deserves access to your time or your attention. Some people drain you, others inspire you. You owe it to yourself to know the difference. When you start protecting your energy, something interesting happens. You begin to outgrow people, places, and habits that once felt comfortable. Growth has a cost, and that cost is usually comfort. But that's how you know it's real. You cannot become your future self while clinging to your past environment. The author also speaks about patience, the forgotten virtue of our generation. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast success, fast results, fast validation, but real growth is slow. Real change takes time. And the most beautiful things in life are almost always invisible at first. Seeds grow underground. Dreams grow in silence. Progress often hides behind consistency. Patience is not waiting and doing nothing. It's continuing to do the right thing even when nothing seems to change. It's trusting that every small effort counts. Every page you read, every workout, every quiet morning of reflection, every time you choose discipline over distraction, it's all adding up. You may not see it yet, but one day everything will make sense. That's what patience is. Faith in slow motion. As the book unfolds, the author reminds us that our circle determines our direction. Who you surround yourself with shapes who you become. If you spend your days with people who complain, gossip, or make excuses, you'll slowly absorb their habits. But if you spend time with those who are driven, curious, and disciplined, you will rise to meet their energy. Sometimes growth will mean outgrowing people, not because you think you're better, but because you are becoming different. And that's okay. Every person in your life has a season. Some are there to teach you lessons. Some are there to walk with you for a while. And some are meant to remind you that you deserve better. Let them go with grace, because as you focus on yourself, your vibration changes and your environment will naturally adjust to match it. Comparison is another thief that steals joy from almost everyone. You might look at someone else's success and feel small. You might see their highlight reel and forget that you are only seeing a single frame of their story. But comparison doesn't just make you feel bad, it distracts you. It steals the focus that should belong to your own journey. The author says it clearly. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. If you improve even a little each day, you're winning. If you're learning, if you're healing, if you're showing up despite fear, that's victory. The goal is not to be better than others, but to be truer to yourself. At the heart of this book lies a simple yet powerful truth. You owe yourself the effort.
No one is coming to save you. No one can live your life for you. The person you want to become depends entirely on the choices you make each day. So if you want peace, create habits that support peace. If you want confidence, build consistency. If you want clarity, choose stillness. You are not waiting for a better life to appear, you're building it, one decision at a time. And while it may feel lonely, remember this. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means preparing yourself to serve it better. There's a section of the book that talks about letting go of the need to prove. In the age of constant sharing, everyone wants to be seen, understood, validated. But the more you chase validation, the less you trust yourself. The other says, let your results speak. Stop explaining, stop defending, stop announcing. Do the work, stay silent. Your peace will make the noise for you. When people see the calm in your eyes, the discipline in your habits, and the confidence in your movement, they'll know something changed. You won't have to say a word. Another lesson, action creates clarity. Most people wait until they feel ready, but readiness is a myth. You'll never feel 100% ready to start. You'll never have perfect timing or total confidence. Clarity comes from doing. You take one small step, then another, and slowly the path appears. It's like driving at night. You can only see as far as your headlights reach, but you can still make the whole journey that way. Don't wait for the entire map. Just trust the next few meters of light. Action breaks fear. Fear feeds on inaction. Move anyway. The author ends the section with a reflection on winning itself. What does it mean to win? We've been told that winning means being the best, achieving more, earning more, having more. But that kind of winning often leads to emptiness. Real winning, he says, is peace. It's waking up and liking who you are. It's knowing that you've stayed true to your values. It's walking through life with purpose, even when no one is clapping. To win is to become whole. Every act of self-respect, every boundary you set, every lesson you learned, that's a victory. Winning is not a destination, it's a direction. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing you're aligned with who you are meant to be. So when you hear the phrase, focus on you until you win, don't think of it as a command to isolate yourself or to chase trophies. Think of it as an invitation to return to yourself, to reconnect with your purpose, to live with intention, to move with patience, to love yourself enough to keep going even when it's hard. You will stumble. You will doubt. You will want to quit. But remember this, every time you choose to stand back up, you are already winning. The world doesn't need a louder you. It needs a clearer you. A you who knows where she's going, why she's moving, and who she's becoming. Focus on you. Protect your peace. Trust your pace. You are not behind. You are becoming. And that's what it means to win. Growth begins quietly, almost invisibly. It starts the moment you decide to take responsibility for your own life. That single decision to stop blaming, to stop waiting, is the first step toward freedom. When you take ownership, you shift from being a passenger to becoming the driver of your destiny. It doesn't mean you can control every event. Life will still surprise you, challenge you, and test you. But ownership means you can always choose how to respond. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes data. Every rejection becomes redirection. That's how resilient people think. They don't see pain as punishment. They see it as preparation. You can't control the weather, but you can control your sails. You can't control the waves, but you can control your direction. And that's all you really need to move forward. The author talks deeply about mindset, the invisible architecture of your results.
Most of us were taught to change the outside world, work harder, get more things, earn more recognition. But the truth is, everything begins in the mind. If your thoughts are negative, your actions will follow. If your beliefs are limited, your results will shrink to fit them. Mindset is not positive thinking, it's trained focus. It's willing to direct your attention to what empowers you, not what drains you. You don't have to silence all your doubts, you just have to stop letting them lead your life. Doubt can visit, but it doesn't get to drive. A central message in this book is that your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. And whatever you plant repeatedly, you will eventually harvest. If you feed your mind with fear, you'll grow anxiety. If you feed it with gratitude, you'll grow peace. If you feed it with discipline, you'll grow strength. The question is not whether your mind will grow, it's what it will grow. So every morning, tend to your inner garden. Pull out the weeds of self-doubt. Water the roots of self-belief. Give your dreams sunlight through action. Do it daily, not occasionally, because success is built on quiet repetition. Many people start with excitement but quit when it gets hard. The author says this happens because they mistake motivation for commitment. Motivation is emotion-based. It comes and goes. Commitment is decision-based. It stays no matter how you feel. When you're committed, you keep showing up. You work when it's raining. You practice when no one is watching. You improve even when you're tired of improving. Commitment is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers wait for inspiration. Doers create it through consistency. Dreamers chase feelings. Doers chase growth. Every day you stay consistent, you're writing proof of your commitment. The author often repeats, show up for yourself the way you show up for others. Because too many of us keep promises to everyone except ourselves. We cancel on our own goals while keeping every external appointment. But the person you spend your entire life with is you. So if anyone deserves reliability, it's you. There's also a section about identity. It says, your habits are reflections of who you believe you are. If you believe you're lazy, your behavior will match that story. If you believe you're disciplined, your mind will find ways to act in alignment with it. So change doesn't start with habits, it starts with identity. You can't become a new person with an old story. To evolve, you must rewrite the narrative you tell yourself. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, say, I'm learning to get better. Instead of, I always quit, say, I'm building consistency. Instead of, this is too hard, say, this is how I grow stronger. Words matter. The way you speak to yourself creates your emotional climate. You become what you repeat. In one of the book's reflections, the author shares an image. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack full of old mistakes, regrets, and grudges. You've been walking uphill for years, wondering why you're so tired. The truth is, it's not the climb that exhausts you, it's the baggage. So take a moment and put it down. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know back then. Forgive others for what they couldn't give you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing your energy. You don't heal by changing the past. You heal by refusing to relive it. You deserve to travel light. And when you do, your energy returns. Your focus sharpens. Your creativity wakes up again. Because energy that was once trapped in resentment becomes available for growth. Then comes the topic of solitude, a theme that runs quietly but powerfully through the book. The author says solitude is sacred. It's not loneliness, it's alignment. It's the moment you hear your own thoughts without interference. Many people are afraid to be alone because they've never met themselves fully. They fill silence with noise, movement, conversation, anything to avoid the stillness.
But in solitude, truth rises. You begin to notice what matters and what doesn't. You start to hear your intuition, that quiet inner voice that has been guiding you all along. Solitude teaches you how to stand strong in your own presence, and that's the foundation of confidence, being at peace with yourself. When you stop running from yourself, you stop chasing what doesn't fit you. The author writes that self-love is not indulgence, it's responsibility. It's taking care of your body, your mind, your boundaries. It's choosing what nourishes you over what entertains you. Self-love is waking up early to stretch, to write, to reflect. It's saying no to environments that drain you. It's learning that rest is not laziness, it's maintenance. The modern world glorifies exhaustion. It tells you to hustle until you collapse. But a burned out soul can't create beauty, can't give, can't love. So care for yourself as if you were someone you're responsible for, because you are. And when you fill your own cup, you give from abundance instead of emptiness. In one passage, the author compares life to a long-distance race. He says, you can't sprint the whole way. There will be seasons of intensity and seasons of rest. Both are necessary. If you push too hard without pausing, you'll lose balance. If you rest too long without moving, you'll lose momentum. The art of progress is learning when to do both. Run and rest, build and breathe. There's no shame in slowing down. Resting doesn't erase your progress. It protects it. Remember, it's not about how fast you go. It's about how long you can keep going without losing yourself. One of the most practical lessons in Focus on You Until You Win is about routine. The author calls it building your personal system of stability. He explains that structure creates freedom. When you know what you'll do each morning, your mind feels safe. You stop wasting energy on decision fatigue. Create rituals that ground you. A few minutes of gratitude before checking your phone. A walk outside to clear your thoughts. A notebook where you track one small win each day. Rituals don't have to be complicated. They just have to be consistent. The goal is to make growth automatic. Once good habits become part of your identity, you no longer rely on motivation, you rely on rhythm. That's how great athletes, artists, and thinkers sustain excellence, through structure that supports their purpose. The author speaks about failure with an honesty that feels refreshing. He says failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've tried. The difference is that they didn't let failure define them. Failure is feedback. It's information. It shows you what needs to improve, not who you are. When you fail, don't say, I'm not good enough. Say, now I know what doesn't work. That shift changes everything. Mistakes are not proof of weakness. They're proof that you're emotion. Remember, you can't edit a blank page, but you can rewrite a messy one. So take the risk. Send the email. Start the project. Ask for the opportunity. Even if it doesn't work, you'll grow through it. Fear shrinks when you move toward it. There's also a chapter on gratitude, and it's not the cliche kind. The author says gratitude is emotional strategy. It's not just about saying thank you.
It's about training your brain to see abundance instead of lack. Every day, you can find something to appreciate: the warmth of sunlight, the strength of your breath, the lesson inside of difficulty. Gratitude rewires your perception. You stop living in what's missing and start living in what's present. A grateful mind is a focused mind. It's harder to feel lost when you constantly remember how far you've already come. As the narrative moves deeper, it explores the relationship between purpose and persistence. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you build. It's the result of paying attention to what moves you, what breaks your heart, what you can't stop thinking about. Persistence is what keeps you connected to that purpose when it feels too far away. Many people quit not because they lack talent, but because they forget their why. When the path gets hard, remind yourself, why did I begin? If your why is strong enough, your how will appear. Purpose gives pain a reason to exist. It turns struggle into a story. It turns work into worship. And once you discover that, every challenge becomes part of your training. In the closing reflections of this section, the author writes, "Be patient with yourself. You are both the sculptor and the stone. Growth takes time because transformation is a slow carving process. You chip away at old fears, old habits, old versions of yourself. Sometimes it feels like you're breaking, but you're actually becoming. Every experience, every disappointment, every lesson, it's shaping you into someone wiser, calmer, stronger. So give yourself grace. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. You don't have to rush to be worthy. You just have to keep showing up, gently, faithfully, courageously. Focus on you until you win." In the quiet of reflection, you start to realize that winning is not something that happens once. It's something you live. It's not a single moment of applause or a final scene of victory. It's an attitude, a way of moving through the world. When you focus on you long enough, something shifts. Your vision clears. Your reactions slow. You stop chasing and start creating. The noise of the outside world fades, replaced with the steady rhythm of your own truth. You begin to understand that success is not about control. It's about alignment. You don't need to force what's meant for you. You just need to prepare yourself to receive it. And preparation looks like patience, presence, and practice. One of the book's strongest ideas is that becoming your best self is not about addition. It's about subtraction. It's not about piling on more goals, more roles, more things, but about removing what no longer fits. Growth is not only about learning, it's also about unlearning. Unlearning the need for approval. Unlearning fear disguised as perfectionism. Unlearning the lie that you must earn love through achievement. When you start letting go of the layers that aren't you, what remains is clarity. And in that clarity, you find peace. You realize that your worth has always been constant. It just got buried under noise.
This kind of peace doesn't shout. It hums. It moves quietly through your day, making even the ordinary moments feel sacred. The author talks about one final stage of growth: contribution. After you've built yourself, healed yourself, and focused on yourself, then comes the moment to give. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Because the overflow of your growth naturally pours into others. Real success is never selfish. It always expands beyond you. You begin to share your lessons, not to teach from a pedestal, but to connect from experience. You start helping others see their own potential, not because you're perfect, but because you understand the journey. When you've truly focused on yourself, you stop competing with people and start collaborating with life. You realize that everyone is fighting invisible battles, that kindness is never wasted, that peace spreads faster than noise. The book returns to the idea of inner peace as a form of strength. The strongest person is not the loudest, but the one who remains calm when everything around them shakes. Peace is power. It doesn't mean apathy or avoidance. It means control, not of the world, but of yourself. It's the ability to breathe in chaos and respond with wisdom. The author says, peace is when your mind stops arguing with your reality. That mind stays with you because so much of human suffering comes from resistance, wanting things to be different than they are. But peace doesn't mean giving up. It means flowing wisely. It's choosing to act where you have power and to release where you don't. You can't calm the ocean, but you can learn to surf. Another deep message emerges near the end. Identity is fluid. You are allowed to evolve. The version of you that began this journey, the one who was tired, distracted, unsure, has already changed. You're not meant to stay the same. That's not failure. That's growth. The author writes, you are allowed to outgrow your old self with love. You are allowed to become quieter, softer, more intentional. You are allowed to love things that younger you might not understand. You're allowed to dream new dreams, to walk new paths, to desire new forms of peace. Change isn't betrayal of your past. It's a gift to your future. Letting go of an old identity doesn't mean erasing your story. It means honoring how far you've come and continuing to walk with open hands. And when life tests you again, because it will, you'll respond differently this time. You'll pause instead of panic. You'll listen instead of react. You'll understand that challenges don't mean you've lost your way. They mean you're being refined. Every difficulty comes to reveal the parts of you that still need strength. Every delay hides a hidden lesson. Every ending carries a beginning inside it. You'll stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That single shift transforms struggle into growth. Because life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every event, every person, every emotion is shaping you for what's next. The author devotes a chapter to resilience, not as toughness, but as flexibility. He says resilience is not about never breaking. It's about learning how to bend without losing your core. Think of bamboo. When the wind comes, it doesn't resist. It sways. And that's why it doesn't snap. You can be strong and soft at the same time. You can cry and still move forward. You can rest and still rise again. Resilience means you trust your ability to recover. No storm lasts forever. And once the sky clears, you'll realize the rain was helping you grow.
As the book nears its close, it speaks about faith, not necessarily religious faith, but faith in life itself. Faith that what's meant for you won't pass you by. Faith that every closed door protects you from what's not aligned. Faith that even when you can't see the path, you're still being guided. Faith is the quiet courage to keep walking in the dark, knowing the ground will appear beneath your feet. It's not blind optimism. It's trust built through experience, through every moment you thought you couldn't go on, but you did. Faith is knowing that if you've survived everything so far, you can survive what's next, too. The author reflects on success without peace, calling it the most expensive failure. He writes, "You can have everything, money, status, recognition, and still feel lost if you haven't made peace with yourself." That's why self-work is not optional. It's the foundation of all lasting success. True wealth is waking up with purpose and going to sleep with gratitude. It's having a mind that serves you, not sabotages you. It's being able to enjoy the present moment instead of living only for the next one. If you have peace, you're already rich. If you have clarity, you're already successful. Everything else is just detail. There's a powerful reminder near the end. You can't lose what's truly meant for you, but you can delay it by not being ready. That's why focusing on yourself is not selfish. It's preparation. The universe or fate or life, whatever you call it, responds to readiness. When you work on yourself, when you align your habits with your goals, when you learn the lessons that keep repeating, you become ready for the things you've been asking for. Sometimes life withholds what you want, not because you don't deserve it, but because you're not yet equipped to sustain it. So don't just pray for blessings, prepare for them. Build the character to hold what you desire. That's how manifestation becomes reality, through maturity. In the final reflection, the author circles back to the phrase that began it all: focus on you until you win. He explains what it really means now that the reader has journeyed through silence, discipline, healing, patience, and purpose. It means don't stop growing just because it's hard. Don't give up on your peace because others don't understand it. Don't abandon your path because it's taking longer than you thought. Winning is not a trophy. It's a transformation. It's waking up one morning and realizing you've become the person you once needed. You've learned how to set boundaries without guilt, how to work without rushing, how to love without losing yourself, how to walk alone without feeling lonely. You are not chasing anymore. You're creating. You're becoming. The author ends the book with a quiet scene. He describes standing by the ocean at sunrise, watching the water move in slow, endless rhythm. And he says, every wave that reaches the shore had to begin as a whisper far out at sea. Your goals, your peace, your purpose, they are the same. They begin small, invisible, uncertain. But if you keep moving, if you keep showing up, they will find their way to shore. And that's what focus on you until you win really means. It's not about ego. It's about evolution. It's not about competition. It's about connection between who you are, who you were, and who you're becoming. So keep your focus inward. Keep your faith alive. Keep your peace sacred. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Because in the end, you don't just win. You become whole.